Welcome to You, Me in the Counselling World, the podcast dedicated to student counsellors and their road to getting qualified and beyond. I am back and I want to share with you where I have been and talk about why sometimes we just need to step back. Hi everyone. Oh, it's so lovely to be back, and here I am. I'm so sorry that I've been away for such a long time. I have really missed everybody, and I've really missed all of the interactions that I get with all of you. It's been a really strange few months actually, and quite a very interesting time, I guess, is what I could say. You know, most of what's happened has been really good, like a really positive time, and it's been really interesting, but it's been a real whirlwind. So I thought I would come here today and fill you in, I guess, on everything that I've been doing and talk about why sometimes we just have to step back, because especially in the work that we do, we have to know where our limits lie. And I think I've reached mine. So I think it's really important that we have that conversation today. So without further ado, let me talk to you about where I've been. That might be the best starting place, mightn't it? So some of you might know this already, but it's been a long-term goal and dream of mine to enter into the world of counselling training. My work with supervisees has taught me so much, and I work lots with students who are training to be counsellors and are in the process of doing placements and things. And I love that work, I love doing it so much. So I knew that it would be for me, that I would enter into training and really enjoy it. But I didn't know where to begin. And I met somebody by the name of Simon Heath, and he and I haven't known each other for very long at all. But he, to cut a very long story short, approached me and we started to discuss this possibility of opening up a brand new counselling college. It was a decision that for me just felt completely right. Like there wasn't any hesitation, there was no doubt, there was no fear. It was just about, yeah, this sounds like a really good opportunity. And to work with Simon, who has tutored already, felt to me to be a really, really big kind of honour, I suppose. I feel really honoured that he approached me and that we had those conversations together and that he's trusted me. This is where our brand new college was born, and it's called Step by Step Counselling College, and it's based in the town of Newton Abbot in Devon, and it's a lovely building, really lovely place, and we've made it really cosy and really homely and a really safe place for students to come and learn with us. And we wanted it to be really different. We didn't want it to feel clinical. We wanted it to feel really home-like, home from home, I suppose. And so that's what we did. And it's been a really epic journey. I very, very quickly realised that it was a lot. It was a lot to take on, and to set this business up at such speed has been a real kind of whirlwind for both Simon and I. But it's what we sort of decided is that I think the first sort of conversations we had were earlier in the year, maybe sort of June time. And come August, we had the keys to this college and we were starting to build something, and it was just a blank canvas at that stage. And we were really aware of that. We were really aware of oh my gosh, we've got so much to do. And this was alongside of all of our existing work with clients and supervisees and doing everything else that we were doing already. So it felt like a mountain to climb, but one that I've been enjoying immensely. I've got so much experience in the counselling world to bring to all of the students that we work with. And I had to go through a real kind of process to be able to get to a space where I can share that with everybody. And it feels amazing to be able to share some of my experience, obviously maintaining confidentiality and everything else, but being able to share some of my experiences and to watch these students grow, both in personality and grow in their own kind of self-awareness and grow in development, right through to watching them work, in triads together and do some counselling with their peers. It's just amazing to watch. The progression is so quick. It blows me away. So I've been in this real process of learning lots about myself, learning lots about other people, at the same time as trying to manage my private practice and set up this new business, learning to be with students and to teach. Oh my gosh, it's been huge. And I'm extremely proud of what Simon and I have achieved together in such a short amount of time. But I have to say that at times it's taken its toll. And I think this is where I wanted to really talk to you all today, to talk about why I just disappeared, because the podcast is so important to me and it's something that I absolutely love doing. But it does crunch up an awful lot of time. It eats into the time like there's no tomorrow. And it's not just sitting down and recording for half an hour. It's all of the editing and everything else that goes alongside it is huge. I guess I reached a point where I wasn't able to maintain everything anymore. And it meant that I wasn't really thriving in any area. I was tired and worn out and really noticing that I wasn't functioning in the way that I would like to. And one of the key indicators for me when I start to feel that way is if I start to feel resentful about things, if work starts to feel like something I need to resent, then it's time for me to step back. And I began to notice that certain aspects of my life, there was resentment. The podcast is never something that I resented, but it's what I did start to notice is I resented the time that I had to spend in editing it and getting it up and out into the world. And as much as I find this process of sitting down and talking with you all so therapeutic and so helpful, I love to hear all of your feedback, and I love all of the lovely people that get in contact with me to ask my advice or to ask questions about courses or to share ideas for the podcast or just to say thank you. That still blows me away every single day that I receive one. It's so special, and I didn't want to be resenting this in any way. So I took the chance to step back. In fact, it wasn't a chance, it was a decision. I took a decision to actively have to step back from the podcast, and it was supposed to be more temporary than it actually ended up being. But it's what I did notice is it freed up some headspace for me. Some, not much, but some. And to be honest, at that point, I was prepared to take anything that I could get, I guess. And so here I am, coming towards the end of the year and getting ready to break up for Christmas. And I couldn't have sort of disappeared by the end of this year without saying anything to all of you. I wanted to touch base. I want to connect with you again. And I'm thinking about how to make that work. And it's what it kind of reminded me of is when we're working with clients, what happens when we reach our limit? And as I said earlier, I think I reached my limit at that point and I wasn't able to give so much to everybody. The analogy you can't pour from an empty cup is one that my clients and my supervisees will all know because I say it so frequently. You can't pour from an empty cup. And so it's about being able to replenish ourselves at the same time as giving and being the best that we can in every aspect of our lives. It's just so important. I wanted to touch base and to think about what we can do when we notice that we need to step back. It's not just I'd quite like a bit more time. This for me was a real need. And I know that that's a really common feeling, especially in the work that we all do. Working with clients can be hugely emotionally draining and it can take a lot from us, sometimes without us noticing. I think those telltale signs of burnout are really important to recognise and to notice within ourselves. Something doesn't feel right. We've got to notice it and we've got to take action on it. And I think it took me a long while to work this out in this time because I was so wrapped up in this new college and I was wrapped up in the podcast. The podcast was still really new. And I love it. You know, I absolutely love doing this. So for me, it felt as if something's got to give. And I didn't want it to be the podcast that had to give, to be honest, but I was kind of in a place of like, well, I don't earn anything from this. I love doing it and I don't want to stop doing it. But I had to go where I was able to create an income and a living for myself. And that sounds horrible for me to say that. It's really, really difficult. But I recognise that it's important that we have to earn a living in our lives, don't we, in order to make things work. And I need that. And I also need to concentrate on this new business. So it just feels like all of this stuff came to a head. And for me, I was like, something's got to give. I've got to step back somewhere. And the podcast was the sort of, the obvious place, for want of a better word. But it wasn't a decision that I took lightly. It was a really, really tough decision for me to do this. I really wanted to carry on at the level I was at in doing, an episode a week and really rolling with it. And I really wanted to keep that up. I wanted to keep up with that and keep rolling with that because I was enjoying it so immensely. But now I've reached a place in my life where I don't have as much time as I had before. But I still want to do this, and I'm still working out for myself about how I can make that happen, but not to the detriment of me. And I think that is the bit which we all have to acknowledge for ourselves, is it's not to be to the detriment of ourselves that we do something. So this is me just coming and saying, I'm really sorry that I've not been around, and I really hope that you're all doing really well. It's also me saying, I'm going to be around more, I'm going to be on the podcast, but maybe at this time in my life, I can't commit to such regular uploads, but maybe I upload when I can, when I've got something to say, when I want to share something with you. Maybe that's when I upload. Maybe I don't need to be such a perfectionist about the editing side. I can do it and I'll try and make it as best I can for you guys to listen to. But what I hear from you all is that it's what I say that's important. It's the message behind this podcast that's important. And that's what I want. And when I first sat down and recorded my very first episode, I had in my mind something of, if I can just reach maybe 10 or 15 students with each episode, I'll be really happy with that. 10 or 15 was what I had in my mind. And this podcast reaches thousands of people. And it blows me away that I'm reaching so many people, and so many people still continue to follow me on Facebook and things, even though I'm not uploading any episodes at the moment. They're still there supporting me, and the amount of messages that I receive really keep me going. It's been amazing to hear, to read your messages and to read comments, to connect with people. That's what I like to do. When we get to a point where we feel like we need to step back, we've got to do that for ourselves, and whatever part of our lives that happens to be in, we need to take that time if we need to take the time. And I've recognised that now. I wanted to share that with you in case it's useful or helpful to you in some way. And I think that the way that I'm going to get around it is I'm just going to be here and I'm going to do whatever I can. But I can't commit to a weekly upload. And I wish I could. Maybe that will change, but right now I can't. But rather than doing an all or nothing way of thinking about this, let me look for the middle ground. And I think the middle ground is for me to post as regularly as I can, and when I've got something to say and something to share with you all. And I wonder if you're listening to this and resonating with any of it, does it feel to you like you need to step back from something? Maybe you're on placement and you've taken on too many clients and you're struggling with that and you're not sure what to do with it. Or maybe the work on your course is getting a bit much and you need some support. Maybe you've taken on too much in your social life and you don't know how to say no anymore. There's so many places within our lives that sometimes we need to just step back and take a moment. And for me, it's been a really long moment, but I've needed to do that whilst I focus on this new business, which has been one of the best things I've ever done in my life. And so I'm extremely grateful to be able to have set up an amazing business and an amazing college and have already met so many amazing students. And I'm really looking forward to the extra courses we've got running. We've got diploma courses starting in January and another diploma course starting in July. It just feels like there's so much, and there's so much I want to tell you all about that. But I think maybe one day I'll invite Simon in and we'll talk about it together and share our vision with you all together. So it's been really good. It's actually felt really therapeutic for me to get some of this out and speak to you all today. So thank you for that, and thank you for listening. And I just want to say I am still here. I still want to support you all. And I will definitely be back in January with another episode. So if you've got any kind of requests that you want to put in, please do. Just come and let me know. So it's so lovely to connect with you. And I just wanted to say a massive thank you to all of you for your support this year. And until we meet again, happy Christmas and happy New Year. See you soon. Bye bye.